Hey man, it's your boy K Smooth, man. Happy Sunday, man. Hey man, I want to get on a topic, you know what I'm saying? Javante Tank Davis. And what I think about Javante Tank Davis, and they've been having a discussion about, is Tank Davis a Hall of Famer? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, in my humble opinion, I like Javante Tank Davis for, all the fights he's been in, leading to him being undefeated. What would we got to think about what was Javante Tank Davis, best fight? Yes, we could say, in my opinion, I have to say De La Santa Cruz was his highlight, best, punch, highlighted of his career. I can't say Pitbull Cruz, because in the first fight it was a struggle for Javante Tank Davis, even though he got the the win. I mean, let's be honest. Pitbull was trying to get that rematch, and Tank didn't want no part of that. I can't say you a Hall of Famer if you ain't trying to give this man his rematch. Not alone, who do you have on your record? Javante Tank Davis. You don't have a Shakur. You don't have Devin Haney. You don't have a T.O. You don't have any names on your record. These guys, Matias, Richardson. I mean, we can go down as talking about Lomachenko. At least have somebody on your record. One or two guys. On your resume won't hurt. Then I can be able to say, Javante, yes. You got my, vote for being in the Hall of Fame. I can't say that. Yes, you go and be, a great Frank Martin, but Frank Martin was on the rise, on the come up. How many other guys had, experience in, more than Frank Martin? Such as, Isaac Cruz and, these other guys. You can be able to go fight. Especially right now, Gary Antoine, whether you at 135 or 140. Gary Antoine Russell at 140, giving you I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind giving you an opportunity. 135, I mean, everybody is at a weight class, but it seem like, some of these fighters that are, better than most are moving up now. So if it ain't to 135, it's to at 140 now. Look at Keyshawn. That could be a good fight, Javante Tank Davis. You and Keyshawn. But I can say, Javante Tank Davis, would be a Hall of Famer right now. Especially if you're trying to, go into retirement. Now, in your career, you have dominated, The fights that Floyd set you up with, put you in a great position to be able to be where you are right now. And I don't take nothing away from Javante for competing and knocking out these guys. But there's still more competition, Especially the guys that we've been talking about that got names, such as Shakur and Lomachenko's and Haney and, Richardson, Hitches, and all these, champions. Teofimo, that could be a potential matchup for, Javante Tank Davis. So, no, I got to be able to keep it real. I can't say that Javante Tank Davis is a Hall of Famer until he go and get one of those names on his resume. And, it's still a lot of unfinished business, especially at 135. Especially if you want to be able to, be comfortable, at 130. Because, truth be told, Javante is gifted to be able to possibly go to 140, but we know in all reality, 135 is the his truest weight. He's a little dude, Javante pack a mean punch, but we got to be able to be more understanding. He's a small guy. So I think the best, thing for Javante, and it's a lot, that he's going through, with his, his girl and shit, and the domestic violence, and nobody wants to be able to be a part of that, but it's life. If the woman is hitting on the man and the man is hitting on the woman, then it ain't gonna be ain't gonna be in anybody's way of understanding both parties. It ain't gonna be nobody's way of understanding. So it's a mental thing, being able to have more love than, just being able to be hateful, with harmful words and not being understanding, to be able to communicate. I feel Gervonta Tank Davis, man. A lot of shit, a lot of accomplishments, you know what I'm saying? A standpoint right now, man, it could hurt you, you know what I'm saying? Gervonta. If you're talking about going to, retirement, you know what I'm saying, that's going to hurt your setback. I don't think you would want to do that, especially Shakur being in his bag right now. If you fuck around and go into, a long layoff and Shakur still be in his bag to where he can make these fights and possibly, head for, world titles at 135 if you don't go to 140, he could run 135 and be unified, undisputed champion. Shakur Stevenson. So that's more fitting for, Gervonta to be at 135. You know what I'm saying? Gervonta, Shakur, Schofield, Abdullah Mason. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko would have been in the picture, but he retired. But you got to be able to pick one to see who runs that throne at 135. BoxingTalk 100. So, again, I know a lot of people going to talk their shit, and, we all can, we all got our own opinions, you know what I'm saying? And that's just my opinion that, I'm going to stick with, you know what I'm saying? Gervonta, hell of a fighter. I got nothing bad to say about Gervonta, but to get these fights, you know what I'm saying, on his resume, such as the names that I told y'all. And if he can do that, and go and beat, just saying a Shakur or Teofimo, man, hell yeah, you'd be in the Hall of Fame. No question. You know what I'm saying? Asking. But in my mind, I got to be able to, have a standpoint, on Gervonta. If I had to be able to say who would be, the best available record to be able to be in the Hall of Fame right now, if a fighter was to be able to stop, would be like a Keith Thurman, you know what I'm saying, unified champion. Would be like a Devin Haney. Would be Teofimo, you know what I'm saying? I mean, let's just keep it real. I can't say that about, Gervonta, and I really can't say that about Shakur, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of work to do. And really catching up. Yeah, they got the name, the household, boxing name, you know what I'm saying, being favored, but these guys ain't really fought nobody. Gervonta or Shakur. Now, Shakur had a good fight against Zepeda, but what if they fought each other? You know what I'm saying? We got to be able to see that. That's what I want to be able to see. I want to be able to see, Shakur fight Frank Martin. I want to be able to see Shakur fight, Schofield. Not to be able to run from Schofield telling him that he don't want to be able to fight him. That's the same thing as Gervonta telling Shakur he don't want to be able to fight him. So why won't all of y'all be able to fight each other? Y'all don't want to fight, man. I don't understand that shit, man. That's what's killing boxing. You know what I'm saying? Major setbacks, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being active, you know what I'm saying, and winning and getting these guys out of there. Like that boy, Gary Antoine Russell. He ain't playing. I got a lot of respect for that Russell brother right there, you know what I'm saying? And Gary Russell Jr., you know what I'm saying, on his comeback. Great comeback, man, and wonderful performance, you know what I'm saying? Now, the Russells, they about business, and that's what I want to see, these type of fights, to where these guys ain't scared and, becoming champions. Taking the risk, man, to be able to dominate the sport. So, you can come in at the bottom and let me know, if I'm lying or if I'm, if I'm being biased about it or you know what I'm saying? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, keeping it real, about Gervonta. Great fighter. I love Gervonta. Love watching him fight, but it's time to be able to go into these mega fights. Championship mode. You know what I'm saying? Taking belts if you can. Becoming a champion. You know what I'm saying? Defending the belts. You know what I'm saying? Being able to unify if you can in the division. Being able to be undisputed. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. BoxingTalk 100. So yeah, comment at the bottom and let me know what y'all think about Gervonta. Should he be a Hall of Famer? Comment at the bottom and let me know what fighters like right now can become, in the Hall of Fame. And don't be biased about it, man. Just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? It's boxing. You got to be able to keep it. You can't just be like, oh, because, he won this and that. Yeah, it looks good, you know what I'm saying? But who are you fighting? Who are you fighting? Gervonta, you got a good what's his name? Dela Cruz. A good Dela Cruz, you know what I'm saying? A horrific, you know what I'm saying, cruciating knockout punch on, Leo Santa Cruz. That's good, Gervonta. I'll give you that. Then you go and fight, Rolly, or was that before? It was one of them. You got the job done with Rolly, you know what I'm saying? Rolly was whooping your ass at the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But you had a flash, you know what I'm saying? A gifted flash, you know what I'm saying, punch that came out of anywhere to knock out Rolly. But before that, we all know Rolly was whooping your ass. Gervonta. Then we go to, Isaac Cruz. A great fight, you know what I'm saying? Gervonta was doing this thing. I think Cruz took a lot of punishment. Both took a lot of punishment when it's all said and done, because we got to be able to be honest about Gervonta. He's a slow fighter, you know what I'm saying, but he picks it up middle rounds, going into the end. I give Gervonta Tank that, you know what I'm saying? I give him that, but in the earlier rounds, man, you can tear his ass up. That's when you got to get him, because, when he wants to get to the middle round 6, in between going into the 12th, or, if it lasts, he going to figure you out. Now, I give Gervonta Tank Davis that. I give him that. But the only problem is we need to see a name. We need to see a name. We can no longer, fucking stall. You know what I'm saying? Now, with Gervonta and all that shit, like I said, with all the domestic violence or whatever, because we don't really know, you know what I'm saying? That's just what they say, you know what I'm saying? We can't go by, you know what I'm saying, and, only, for what, he go to, whatever happens in this situation, whatever he be judged for, that's, that's their business. But Gervonta is just a minor setback, you know what I'm saying, for a major comeback. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, It's always going to be distractions, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like Gervonta, in this, point of time, yeah, you could be the, money maker, you know what I'm saying, the breadwinner, being in control and, having things how, how they supposed to be in place or whatever, and thinking, kids, and their moms and, both sides, you know what I'm saying, and, can sometimes be a problem, you know what I'm saying? It could be a money thing, it could be spending, it could be a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that could, make you be one to fight or, be physical, not being understanding, a little bit of jealousy, you know what I'm saying? A lot of things can take place, and I could see that within, Gervonta, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with, women that are bad and, having your baby mamas or, your kid's mother, that want their hand out and all that shit. You'll have those type of problems, man. And a lot of them still gonna have a lot of problems, no matter what. But, being a man, that'll be your downfall, by putting your hands on women when you ain't supposed to. Every time. They gonna have the right, to be able to call, the police, or you be able to threaten to be able to call the police on you until you do something bad, you know what I'm saying? Till you do something bad, but eventually that shit builds up. Who gets tired of who, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel, Gervonta, man, it's just, he probably feel like he don't want to do shit for nobody, you know what I'm saying? Keep going through domestic violence and fighting and all this shit and, gets on the main pages and, you know what I'm saying, headlines and the shit, that's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Ears start ringing, you know what I'm saying, around, the world and, especially with gossip. You understand? But that's the type of shit, I feel for Gervonta, just got to, become a better man and stay focused, you know what I'm saying? But to his fans, like I said, comment at the bottom and let me know what y'all think. I just think that if he have a layoff or go into any sort of type of retirement, that's gonna give a lot of other fighters an advantage to become better. You don't want Gervonta don't want to ease up and slip up and then trying to get back in the gym. That we really ain't gonna get no fights. This is gonna be a setback to see him headline, coming back. But against who though? That's the problem. Against who? Gervonta Tank Davis against who, brother? Are you trying to be unified world champion at 135 and eventually go to 140 to do it, to repeat it? Or what is you doing? You just picking and choosing Gervonta Tank Davis. And so that's my opinion about Gervonta Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? He's so talented and of a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? In a position to be able to do what he wants, but it's like it's boring when we continue to see him. Not having the fights that we want to be able to see. So. As far as his resume, Gervonta, like I said, Leo Santa Cruz, you got Isaac Cruz, you know what I'm saying? Should have been a rematch. You got Ryan Garcia, you know what I'm saying? His first fight, of course, that's one of his, highlight, fights of his career. Then you got, Frank Martin, Oh, you also fought Mario Barrios as well, and got that dub. So I give a lot of credit for, to Gervonta, by, there's champions now like Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios is doing his thing at 147. Tank would he have to put on some weight to be able to go to 140 to, being able to make weight in between 140 to 147. And I just don't see that happening no time soon. But yeah, a lot of people gonna have their opinion on Gervonta. I just want to see Gervonta have good fights. A great showsman, know how to, like I said, know the business. He let his hands do the talking, so that's what Gervonta is well respected, for letting his hands do the talking. And we've seen, the true talent within, Gervonta Tank Davis, but there's other talent that's out there, you know what I'm saying? And the fighters that got fights are on that level, you know what I'm saying? Same as Tank. I'd love to see a Tank and Gary Antoine Russell, man. That'd be like a great fight, you know what I'm saying? Being able to welcome at 140. If you ain't trying to do nothing at 135, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to ask the question, what is Tank going to do? Is he going to go to 135? Is he going to allow them two to be able to fight, Shakur and Schofield, and then fight the winner? Because when it's all said and done, Gervonta Tank Davis fans, your boy can't run. He can't run forever. He can't run forever. You know what I'm saying? You got fight. You got a fighter. And in my opinion, and I'm not saying that to where Tank gonna lose, because I feel like if Tank was to fight these fighters now, he would definitely win. Especially, you know what I'm saying, if he hold out and if he hold out, Shakur got the upper hand. Shakur gonna beat everybody. That would just be my opinion. If Gervonta Tank Davis hold out. That's going to allow you to be sluggish. That's going to allow you to be, trying to get back to boxing, something that you love. And with Shakur, he going to been on wipe out the, division. 100%. I'm trying to tell you how this shit going to go. I don't see, that would be a good fight. That would be like, what would it be like? A vacated belt, because Shakur does have belts, but there's more, belts that are vacated, at 135. Abdullah, he going to be able to fight for a belt. Then look at, Schofield beating, Tevin Farmer, That's giving him a chance to be able to compete at 135. Schofield. So you're entitled to, you know what I'm saying, being able to be given, you know, a chance and an opportunity to be able to capture a belt at 135. Schofield. But Shakur is in the way. And I think he would be the top dog at 135. If Shakur and Schofield was to fight, I got my money on, you know, Shakur to be able to beat Schofield. Now, I don't know if he can knock out Schofield, but I know he'll beat Schofield to the punch. Schofield be trying to look for the punch. Now, Schofield has become better, but I think when it comes to IQ and be able to land, you know what I'm saying? Just having that IQ and sense of being a boxer and knowing how to box and taking your time with patience, that would get Shakur to, you know, the win. You know? But if Schofield was to if he's allowed in his mind to be able to pressure the fight, the whole fight, given the whole 12 rounds, and you pressure and you land on Shakur, you might have a good chance. You got to go in there and body up Shakur, something that he ain't used to. You know, because Schofield, I think he can take a punch. With Shakur, you know, he can. Now, Zepeda was a great when Shakur beats Zepeda, you know what I'm saying, not too long ago, y'all already seen it, you know what I'm saying, for that WBC title belt. Giving, you know what I'm saying, Zepeda his first loss. You got to understand, Shakur a bad motherfucker. It take a lot to be able to hit Shakur. And especially, you know what I'm saying, you know, defense, you know, a tremendous defense. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's levels to this shit. You know, I don't see, you know, we talk about Shakur running and this and that, but the boy's gifted, you know what I'm saying, on defense. You know, what you going to do? You just going to stand there and get hit. You ain't supposed to get hit. You supposed to dodge, you know, punches and, you know, of it being, you know, basic defense on boxing. You supposed to apply for that. You supposed to just get hit and stand there like Oscar De La Hoya didn't want you to do and just trade punches and then get knocked out. That's not how it's supposed to go. And boxing is a thinking sport. So I commend, you know, Shakur. You know, I'm not mad at him for, you know, taking his time in boxing and being a true boxer, but you got to be able to step your game up when it comes to, you know, another fighter that's pursuing elite, being on that type of level like Schofield. Now, Schofield, I'm not saying that he is a sharp boxer like Shakur, but he has the, you know, the abilities and the traits to be able to get the job done if they was to be able to fight. But who would I favor? Of course, I would favor Shakur. He's more faster, more landable. He's going to land punches on, you know, Schofield. But Schofield is an elite fighter, and he's a great pro. You know what I'm saying? He can hang in there with the best of them. If he goes in there and if he's able to land on Shakur, that'll be testing Shakur's chin to really see, you know, where Shakur's chin is at. Boxing Talk 100, I'm just keeping it real. That'd be testing Shakur's chin. Schofield. You know, we've seen we've seen, you know, Schofield with his performance, you know what I'm saying, moving on to better things. We've seen, you know, Shakur, you know, getting past, you know, Zepeda. You know, we still got to see Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is, you know, given a chance, you know, to be able to compete at 135. It's going to get interesting. Keyshawn Davis would have been the man, you know, right there at 135, but not to be able to make weight, you know what I'm saying, and not being able to be disciplined causes you, you know what I'm saying, a minor setback. You know what I'm saying? You have no choice to be able to move right up to 140 just like Frank Morton and make that fight happen. That would be being welcome at 140, not by the champions, but, you know, stepping your foot into the door. You know what I'm saying? Keyshawn Davis versus, you know what I'm saying, Frank Morton, that fight got to happen. It needs to happen. It got to happen. We got to be able to see who wins that fight. You know, that's a great fight. You know what I'm saying? And all the other champions, you know, at 140, you know, we seen, you know, Matias, you know, beating Albert Pulio, you know what I'm saying, having the belt. We see Gary Antoine Russell holding the belt. We see Teofimo now holding the belt. Richardson, Hitchens, you know what I'm saying, at 140. These are your belt holders, man. You know what I'm saying? These fights got to be made. There's a lot of belts. You got Isaac Cruz in there still. You know, he still, got opportunities. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot, to be able to, handle business at 140. It's a lot, you know what I'm saying? If we able to see these unification matchups with, motherfucking, Teofimo, Gary Antoine Russell, and motherfucking Matias, you know what I'm saying? These fights got to happen. These fights got to happen. One of these fighters got to be able to defend. The other two fighters got to be able to, unify. So they going to have to be able to, here soon be able to, we're going to have to figure it out at 140, because a lot of shit is, being clogged up, man, at 140. A lot of shit is being clogged up at 140 right now. These fights need to happen, And last but not least, you know what I'm saying, to get off of, 135 with the names and 140 with the names, let's go to Manny Pacquiao, 147, man. Let's talk about 147, man, and what I think about Manny Pacquiao. Now, like I've said before, you know what I'm saying, even though Manny Pacquiao had a draw with Mario Barrios, I just feel like it wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's a major setback, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to get the job done, the first time. The only way, the rematch or anything happens, you got to put money all back in this shit again. You're going to have to be able to, do all the press conferences, all this shit got to, go back to back, run it back. Y'all got to run it back, you know what I'm saying? Pacquiao, Mario Barrios. That would be option number one for Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? If Boxing Association is willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? That should be the first option. Now, when you're talking about trying to fight Mayweather, you know what I'm saying, that shouldn't be, really be an option because you didn't put on a great performance. That should have been, more of a privilege, you know what I'm saying, to be able to, fight Mayweather and to be able to be like, all right, Mayweather, okay, give me Manny Pacquiao. He got the belt for Mario Barrios. Now, I could go and beat his ass again and really show the people. That's how it should have been done, you know what I'm saying, but it didn't happen that way. In my humble opinion, I think Manny Pacquiao, he should be excluded, like, out of here. You know what I'm saying? And try to fight one else, at 147 and be given another title defense shot. Not, just Mario Barrios, but you got Brian Norman Jr., you got other fighters, you know what I'm saying? If Boost decides to, stay at 147 and not 154, and probably most likely going to vacate and go to 154, we don't know what's up with Boost right now. I don't know. I'm so confused with Boost right now. I don't know what's up with Boost right now. You know what I'm saying? But, it's just simple shit with Manny Pacquiao. You can't beat Mario Barrios. How would you be given a chance to be able to fight, Mayweather? It don't make no sense. Now, what makes sense is Mario Barrios still being champion and he calls out Floyd Money Mayweather. That makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Floyd now, he would be like, all right, that would, you know what I'm saying? That would be interesting to him. Mario Barrios got a belt, still a champion, talking that shit, calling out Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, that make more sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And giving, opportunity, for Mario Barrios, that's deserving. You already fought a legend and it was of a draw. I don't give a fuck how old y'all say Manny Pacquiao is. He still tried to come back and fight. And still trying to chase Floyd. That is the best, fighter that stands on the throne. Without even having the belts because of what he's accomplished, having more championship belts within 25 to 30 years within his career without losing. So just having another belt to Floyd wouldn't be nothing. You know what I'm saying? Especially fighting Mario Barrios, that would just be putting more money in Mario Barrios, pocket. Not Floyd's. It just looks good for Mario Barrios because of his hard work and him being a champion. You know, Boxing Talk 100. You know, Mario Barrios versus Floyd Money Mayweather. That's the fight I want to be able to see. I don't want to hear about no Manny Pacquiao. I'm sorry, Manny Pacquiao fans. I don't want to hear about him anymore. If you want to, Manny Pacquiao, if you want to be able to earn my, and you got my respect, but now to be able to, you know, come back and do it or whatever, go, you know, go fight Keith Thurman again. That's a good fight. You know what I'm saying? For that rematch, to be able to see, you know, Keith Thurman asking for it, so that's a great fight. Pacquiao Thurman too. You know what I'm saying? Go fight, you know, who's at 147? You know what I'm saying? The other fighters, Brian Norman. You know, that'll be a nice paycheck for Brian Norman Jr. But yeah, man, thanks for watching my video, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this, you know, boxing discussion. You know what I'm saying? If you are new to, you know, my channel, make sure you subscribe and, you know, make sure you leave a comment, you know what I'm saying, and leave a message, you know what I'm saying, and make sure you hit that thumbs up. I really do appreciate y'all, man. Happy Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Today is August the 3rd, I believe. August the 3rd. Let me double check. Today is Sunday. Yeah, August the 3rd, man. So, man, happy Sunday, man. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend, man. And, you know, stay safe and enjoy this good weather. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice day outside. And, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? I'm at work right now. I'm just giving y'all, you know what I'm saying, time. You know what I'm saying? And it's a good day today, man. And like I say, man, I look forward to, you know, more news in boxing. And, you know, yeah, man. Boxing Talk 100, man. Thanks for watching my video. And peace out. Gone.